Hey everyone, it's Jason here with another tutorial for you today in Illustrator. And this tutorial actually comes from a question. I love getting the questions that you guys have about working with vinyl decals, vinyl designs in Illustrator, and other types of designs. This one comes from Willie Dog USA. He sent me a message on YouTube and it says, I'm William from Italy. First of all, compliments for the awesome tutorials. Thanks, I appreciate it. And then he says, do you have any tips on cleaning up designs vectorized from an image? Sometimes I notice there are two identical paths, one on top of the other, or the paths are not smooth, and corners or anchors have loops in them. When I try to cut them, my silhouette cameo gets crazy slow and takes a long time to cut these useless details. Alright, so great question. We're going to dive into the most unglamorous part of working with vinyl decal design, basically the thing that's the least favorite of mine to do, and probably of everybody's, and that's cleaning up your designs if you image trace something. So great question here. So let's dive into this. You see I have this car here, up here, and let's say that I want to trace this and I want to make a design out of it. Now the first thing you're going to do, because you could spend a lot of time with cleanup, I think in the last part of his question he asked if there's a script or something that I use for this. I don't have any script for this. I don't see how a script would work because every design is different, every kind of image is different, so it'd be hard to get it perfect. I think it would, there would always be something that you'd have to fix, and it might even make things worse in some cases. So the most important thing you want to pay attention to is you bring in your design and what design you're going to choose. Now that doesn't always work because maybe a client gives you a design and says I need this exact one, but there are some options still to you. And we look over here, I have the image trace panel. Let's just bring this out so you guys can see it here. And first thing I'm going to do, let's see, is look and see what mode I want to choose. And now there's not very many different colors in this. If you get an image with a lot of colors, it's going to be a pain, and you're going to have to cut out a lot of different layers of colors and everything anyways. But if you know you're just doing one color, then usually I go for a silhouette look here. Not a silhouette, I'm sorry. We go for a black and white logo. You can do a silhouette, say, if it's just the shape, the outline shape they want, then that's perfect. This here with the black and white logo, it's given us just black and white, and we can see what we're going to be cutting out there. If it's something a little bit, you can choose colors. If it's something a little bit more complicated, low fidelity photo might work. You start getting into a high fidelity photo and you're going to have problems. But that's what I would do. I would start here and just try all the options, because it doesn't take very long. Well, depending on your computer, I have a pretty fast PC I'm working on. But depending on your computer, you're going to be able to see what they all look like and preview them. And you might get something that works for you. There's line art. That doesn't work for us. But so let's say we have to go with this this low fidelity photo mode because we want all the colors, and there's some things, and that's what we're going to work with, just for the sake of answering his question here about cleaning up. You'll see what he's talking about with multiple lines on top of each other. So if I click expand up here after I've image traced it and I've decided this is what I'm going with, then it expands all the paths. We got everything here. And if I zoom in here, let's just take part of this photo. We'll look at a couple different things. If I click here, first thing I want to do is ungroup, because every time I click on something it's going to select everything. So now remember, we've used in a lot of our other tutorials Control Y, which is the preview mode. When it comes to cutting out the vector graphics, remember that anything you can see in this mode is the actual lines that your plotter, your vinyl cutter is going to cut. So this is what we want to pay attention to. So if I look at the picture, I've got just the black, right around here I've got just the black line coming through, but if I look at the line mode, I've got two different lines here. So in this one, you just have to kind of start, it's a trial and error. So if I choose one and I hit delete, and I look at it, well, that's not going to work because it took away the whole, the whole outline, the whole black outline that we want. So I'm going to Control Z, undo that, and let's work with the direct selection tool because it's easier to select individual lines. Let's choose the other line here, and if I delete that, Well, there we go. It still looks exactly the same, and it's going to cut that exact way because we've deleted that line. In some of these cases, like he's talking about, there could be 4 or 5 lines, and they could be, these ones weren't even super close to each other. You might have to zoom in a lot because the lines will be right on top of each other and delete the right ones. It's going to take a little bit of time. Let's look at this section here. Looks kind of messy, and in a case like this, the shape, this isn't very complicated. You guys know I'm not a, you've seen, I think in some of my other tutorials, that I'm not an artist. I can't draw very well, hence graphic design. But something like that's this shape, kind of a, this is a vent on the car, this type of a shape, I could draw this fairly easily. So it would be quicker, in my estimation, just to delete this piece and go in and start drawing that. But that's not what we're talking about here. There's other things that are going to be more complicated that you're going to run into that you're not going to be able to draw yourself. So here we see that it just separates everything because of the multiple colors. So what I would do here is I want this all to be one piece. So I'm holding down the Shift key as I select each of the pieces, and I'm going to come over here to the Pathfinder tool and just try to join these. And when I do that, now they're actually all one piece. It's still uneven lines and everything. But I think this is what he was talking about in his question. Getting even closer here on some of this. So looks kind of junky because the lines are all over the place. Here is a great tool to use over here, and it's underneath the pencil tool probably. If you've used the pencil tool for drawing, go and select the smooth tool. There isn't a shortcut key, so you kind of got to have it handy there. And you can change increase the brush size and everything. But all I'm going to do, while it has to be selected, the image or the part that you want to correct has to be selected, and you're going to click the mouse and you're just going to draw over it. Now, one thing to tell you before we start on this, double click on the icon, and depending on your version of Illustrator, this might look a little different or be different, but I'm going to choose, just so we can see the dramatic effect, or usually what I have it on is all the way smooth. So I'm going to click OK, and let's go in here so you guys can really see. I'm going to just draw, and when I let go, it's going to smooth that out. You guys see that? And it's not always going to work 100%, but this tool is a magic worker. And when it doesn't work the way you want it to, all I do is hit A on the keyboard, hit the direct selection tool, and see if I can manipulate the point that I want, just to make it a little bit more of the shape that I want, a little bit smoother. And then afterwards I might come in here and choose the smooth tool again and see if I can get it a little bit straighter. And as you can see, this is going to take a little bit of time. This is why we charge by the hour, not by the project, because you do some of these things and it's going to take a little bit of time. But it works really well. Now, the other thing that I do a lot, let's go over here to another piece. Let's go here. Let's see this, how it swoops down maybe more than I want it to. If the smooth tool isn't working and I can't move it myself, I will simply just delete that whole piece, that whole section. And if you look at Control Y, you can see that it's completely gone. I'll choose the pen tool, and then I will just simply draw another path. The pen tool is awesome. Don't be scared of it. I know it's probably the most feared tool in Illustrator, but it works great for a lot of things. So now I just deleted that piece and redrew it. And if I look at that, completely smooth. So, and you'll get pretty fast as you practice this, but this smooth tool can work wonders. Let me just show you one other thing before we finish here that might help you. Let's go to the back of the card here and look at these air vent, little, I guess they're vents or whatever. We look at it in outline mode, and you can see the shapes are overlapping each other. One of the tools, let's see, I'm going to select these, and you guys may or may not know about this, it's kind of hidden, but if I go under Object with everything selected that I want to manipulate, and I go under Path and Simplify, I get this dialog box here. And what this does is, if you have a design with a ton of anchor points and a ton of things going on, this is made to simplify it, but it's also made to, in simplifying it, you guys know that whenever you remove anchor points, lines get straighter, they can be curved more, and things are a little bit smoother as you don't have so many jagged points moving all around. So that's what this is all about. So I have the preview checked on here. If I have that off, you're not going to see what's going on, but if I have preview on, and I'm going to take off the show original, if I have preview on, you can see that as I move this, curve precision, it's changing the shape of the objects. Now this maybe not the best example, and it does this again like all the things. It doesn't work in every case, but it works pretty well for certain situations, and it's easy to try. You can click on this show original, and that red outline is giving me what the original design looks like, so I can see, you know, where I came from and where I'm going. Straight lines in this case isn't going to help us, but that will make everything straight, kind of box it up. So that is another option. So if I click that, it's going to do that, and you see here as I got this other small little loop in here, I might just hit the Pathfinder tool to bring it together. Maybe I will grab this endpoint, just bring it in a little bit. And again, this is another instance where this would be a lot easier just to redraw, or just to bust out your pen tool or the pencil tool or something and redraw it. But there's going to be cases where that's not going to work. So that's why we're learning what to do. All right, so there's a couple of tools: the smooth tool, the simplify tool. Simply knowing what you're looking at, go into outline mode to see what your cut lines look like. And it is going to take some time in a lot of cases, but you know, that's what it's about. So I gotta move this over a little bit. But there's some things to look at to get you started in cleaning up your designs. No magic wand fix that's going to just fix the whole thing, smooth everything out. No script or anything like that. But when you need to, that's how you can get it done. All right, this has been Jason with Inkspit Designs, and I'll see you guys next time.